Oh yes, Nigeria's journey to ensuring protection of rights of citizens in line with global tenets has not been without challenges, especially the myriad of internal security crises across the country, with conflicts drawing security forces and unpleasant attendant consequences in tow. With current efforts, these concerns are surmountable as the National Human Rights Commission takes the bold step of projecting human rights issues, awareness to citizens, investigating violations, fighting for victims, and training security forces on international best practices for rules of engagement. Established by Decree Number 22 of 1995, the NHRC, with presence in the 36 states of the Federation, is making progress in terms of rights to dignity and rights to liberty of Nigerians, providing oversight and judicial action to abuses by states and non-state actors. This is Reshaping Democracy, and I'm Ayo Deji Makinde. The National Human Rights Commission, with the support of government and stakeholders, is working tirelessly to promote a culture for human rights for all Nigerians. Reshaping Democracy this time takes on the Executive Secretary of the NHRC, Dr. Tony Ojukwu, who is set to answer citizens' inquiries into the Commission's mandates and service delivery.
My name is Abubakar Balarabi, human rights activist and indigenous of Sokoto State. My question to Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission. Sir, what mechanism has the National Human Rights Commission put in place to monitor and document human rights violations across the country?
Thank you very much. This question is very, very germane to our work, because as a matter of policy, we know that all parts of the country require our services. So what we have done to reach the crannies, the nooks and crannies of the country, is to have state offices in all the 36 states. We have state offices in all the 36 states, and these state offices are there to make sure that people can access them and report individual cases of human rights violation. In addition to that, we have tapped into the new modern technology, because we know that most people have telephones. So we developed a toll-free number, which is 6472. That toll-free number, anybody can call it from any part of the country to be able to access the services of the Commission. In addition, we have what we call Human Rights Dashboard. The Human Rights Dashboard is a mechanism we have used to be able to give information on the state of human rights across the country every month. And to be able to get the information, we have established what we call Human Rights Observatory. We have this Human Rights Observatory in all the 36 states. And this Human Rights Observatory is to make sure that they collate all cases of human rights violation in every state, every month, both those reported to us officially and those not reported to us, because we can handle any human rights violation that comes across us. Even if we hear on NTA or any television station that a human rights violation has been committed, we can take action. We don't have to wait until when it's reported to us.
Ms. Babagana Kaule. My question to the Executive Secretary, I can say my question is going to be sort of hydra-headed. First and foremost, we would like to know what collaborations, strategies has the Commission made with government agencies, private partners, civil society organizations to achieve the level of success they had in this region.
Exactly, because, you know, as a commission, we know that when there is conflict, human rights suffers. So we have been partnering with the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, because the conflict situation in the Northeast has led to a lot of displacement of people. Now we established what we call community protection action groups. These are members of the community that are working with the commission, who live in these communities, who, because they are closer to the community, they can give us information as to possible triggers of conflict between displaced population and the inhabiting communities. And then we have what we call, you know, referral committees. Now, the idea is when this community protection action group gets this information, we look at what are the challenges, what are the needs of these displaced persons. Their need may be they need legal support. If they need legal support, we refer them to the appropriate body like the Ministry of Justice. Their need may be to do advocacy about a challenge. We link up with the media to bring out the problem to the fore. Maybe we can get a helper. So, and we cannot do it alone as the Human Rights Commission. We have to work with civil society. We have to work with the media. We have to work with other MDAs, you know. But these are human rights issues. It's our duty to identify them, and then we do referrals, we follow up, we make sure that that human rights challenge is resolved.
My name is Afiniki Mangja. I would want to ask Executive Secretary, sir, what strategies have NHRC and what strategies are you putting together to make sure that security agencies, the military, know about human rights, and they also are going to be accountable for the protection of these people?
We identified that nobody prepared for insurgency in Nigeria. We just woke up one day and we are confronted with insurgency. So there were a lot of challenges. So we now felt that we needed to engage with the military to mainstream human rights into their operations. You will find out that we now started what we call human rights military dialogue. During this human rights military dialogue, we try to make the military understand that yes, the security, which is their main concern, is very, very important, but pursuing security without laying emphasis on human rights is counterproductive. And the military saw with us. First of all, we encourage them to establish human rights desks in all military formations. So if you go to the military now, you have human rights desks in the Nigerian Army, you have human rights desks in the Nigerian Navy, you have human rights desks in the Nigerian Air Force. In fact, the human rights desks are so advanced now that initially they were inside the Army headquarters. But because the human rights desks were supposed to listen to complaints from civilians, and they were maybe afraid of even entering the military headquarters to lay these complaints, the military authorities have advanced to the stage that they're even locating the human rights desks outside the military so that civilians can easily have access to them. After the human rights desks now, you even have the civil military unit now. It was as a result of engagement with the military, development from human rights desks to even having a full civil military department that is now looking into relations with civilians and how this can be smoothened to reduce conflict. Now, the Commission is also collaborating with the military, with the support of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, to train military officers every year since 2013, 2014, 2015. We train military officers every year, especially those in the front lines. By the front lines, we mean those who are fighting Boko Haram in the northeast, the key states of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa. So these officers are made to meet with officers of the Human Rights Commission, and we normally take about 3 days training on how to mainstream human rights into the operation.
My name is Nelson Owefaware. What steps are being taken to sensitize the average Nigerian on their human rights? And I particularly ask this one against the backdrop of the recent clampdown on journalists especially, and other Nigerians, of course, skit makers and all that, in recent times.
The issue of creation of awareness of human rights is something we hold very seriously about our work, because we know that a major step towards defending your right in life is even the knowledge that you have a right. If you don't know you have a right, somebody can be violating that right. You don't even know. You don't even know your right is being violated. So how do you even start seeking for help to get a remedy if you don't even know your right is being violated? So we don't joke with the issue of awareness creation. And this awareness creation, we use the media, we use the radio, we use the television. Now we have a journal which we publish every quarter, talking about our mandate to promote and protect human rights. We hold what we call seminars, we hold workshops, we train journalists, we train the military, we train lawyers, we train law enforcement agents, we train members of the civil society. We have a Human Rights Institute now. The Human Rights Institute is to train members of the public. And when you train people, you create awareness. We organize talk shows, we organize workshops. In the states, we are in all the 36 states. We do campaigns, we do road shows, road campaigns. At times you see us during International Human Rights Day. We take a walk along the street, we invite people, they follow us through. When we are doing 16 days of activism, we visit all strata of society. We do this in all the 36 states of the country. We visit the religious leaders to create awareness amongst them. We visit traditional institutions in the communities. We sensitize them and create awareness. We go to schools. We talk to school children. We talk to their teachers. We create awareness. We visit the House of Assembly. We visit the governor. We visit the governor's wife. We visit market women. Trying to create awareness about some of these issues. And this is reflecting in the number of complaints the Commission is receiving. As at today, there is no year within the last 5 years that we have received less than 2 million complaints a year. It is amazing. And like I said, we have what we call toll-free number. And that toll-free number is to encourage people, because at times people may have problems and they don't have the avenue to report. So we have a partnership with the National Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, and they gave us a toll-free number, 6472. Any Nigerian who has any human rights challenge, any human rights issue they want to complain about, they'll send it to that number.
My name is Prince Makake. I'm calling all the way from Bayelsa State. I would like to ask a clear policy direction of the Commission when it has to do with women, children, and people living with disabilities. I'd like you to elaborate on your possible policies that though you have.
Honestly, it is indeed a challenge, because the population of Nigerians who need assistance are so many. So we realize that if nothing is done about the vulnerable group, they can be forgotten easily. And you will agree with me that also when there is a conflict like the one we have, the vulnerable group suffers more, women and children. If they used to go and fetch water, they cannot go and fetch water again. If they used to go and fetch firewood, they cannot go again. If the children used to go to school by leg, unescorted, now their mother has to escort them to school because of insecurity. What we have done is to identify that these are vulnerable groups that need special support. In our complaint handling mechanism in the commission here, we had identified that we created a department for vulnerable groups. That's one. We also created a department for women and children. It is because of the recognition of the special circumstances of women and children and persons with disabilities, IDPs, refugees, persons living with HIV and AIDS, key population, that we said, okay, we need to have a special department so that when their cases come, those people there are well trained to handle issues. It's not everybody that can handle issues concerning children. Like when domestic violence case comes, you need some special training to deal with that. If a case of rape is reported here now, the advice we may give you may not be what you would think. For instance, if somebody has suffered rape and comes to report to the Human Rights Commission, we're not going to tell you to go and take a shower. We're not going to tell you to throw away that dress that you were wearing when the person was raped. We will take you to hospital first. Because we know that in dealing with a case of rape, medical evidence is very, very important. And by the time the lady or the man goes to shower, very useful medical materials may be washed off, which may make it difficult to prove the case.
My name is Pastor Dudukende Zacchaeus. I live in Akure, the state capital of Ondo State. The Executive Secretary, what reporting strategies has the National Human Rights Commission developed to document and publicize human rights violations? And how does the Commission ensure that its reports are accurate, unbiased, and accessible to the public?
We have what we call State of Human Rights reports. And of course, we also have our annual report. We also have a journal where we publish things concerning the Commission, and we have what we call the newsletter. The newsletter is published every quarter on current activities of the Commission and so on and so forth. And in developing this State of Human Rights report, we base it on the information that comes to the Commission officially as a result of our handling of complaints. We also interact with members of the civil society who are our partners, and then with it we have a clear picture. You can see that every month we do what we call the dashboard on State of Human Rights, and these are information collected from around the country, and that is how we get our information. We have an observatory, gather this information, and then we can now say, okay, this is the state of human rights in the country. We document it, and we use the media, we use our publications to make sure that we disseminate this information. But we go to a large extent to verify our complaints. That is why we have investigation departments. We have investigation officers who investigate these complaints to make sure that they are actually the situation, and that is how we try to verify our complaints.
Ambassador Adojutelegon Adesoji, Executive Secretary, what step has the National Human Rights Commission taken to incorporate international human rights norms and principles into its work?
Of course, the first thing we did was capacity building is very, very key, because knowledge is power. to have established in the Commission an international cooperations unit. What that unit does is to make sure that all international instruments are our obligations as a country regarding some of these international instruments, that those obligations are kept. We are reminded of those obligations. And also we carry out training for our staff on these international instruments, because the international instruments are soft laws which we also apply in our work. You have the Convention on the Rights of the Child. It was with the Convention on the Rights of the Child we now crafted the Child Rights Act. So the combination of the Convention on the Rights of the Child and Child Rights Act in doing any matter concerning children, we now combine the knowledge of these two. You realize the other time when children, as a result of the NBAC governor, children were being prosecuted, we had to shout because we said, no, that is not how it's supposed to be. When children commit offense, and children are people under the age of 18, when they commit offense, you don't take them to the formal courts. That's what they call family court. And you don't stigmatize children, you don't criminalize them. You rather, instead of keeping them in prison, you take them to a juvenile center. Because a child can make a mistake, you must give that child a second chance. Children are not supposed to be in prison. So if we go there and we see children who are in prison, we'll make a case that this is the wrong place for these children. You rather make them hardened. Because by that, okay, maybe Boko Haram people are being detained in that prison. That interaction can make them become radical. So these are some of the kind of things we are trying to do to make sure that we restore normalcy to the criminal justice system and reduce the number of human rights violations that are going on in the country.
Wait a minute. That is a steady progress coming from the horse's mouth as the NHRC makes steady and significant gains in the provision of globally accepted rights provided in the Universal Declaration. The NHRC is being put to tests and is no doubt proving its mettle in ensuring protection of human rights in Nigeria. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. This is Reshaping Democracy. See you same time next week. Bye-bye.